So I'm going to start this video with a question. Do you feel like you are here for something greater than what you're currently doing? Like you have a purpose? Like you're here to do God's work? If you answered yes, then this video is for you, because I'm going to be presenting to you 3 bad habits that are preventing most men from living in their God-given purpose. Now, I'm not only going to be presenting the bad habits, but I'm also going to be presenting you some substitute habits, some things you can do instead so you don't go back to these bad habits. Now, I've dealt with all of these habits that we're going to cover today, so I feel like I have the ability to teach it to you since I've dealt with most of these habits and I no longer deal with them. So let's dive into the first one, which is PMO and chasing females. Now, if you don't know what PMO stands for, this stands for porn, masturbation, orgasm. This is a cycle that a lot of men are stuck in, and this is one of the habits that is destroying men and keeping them from living in their God-given purpose. I talk about this in other videos, and in videos in the future, I'm going to elaborate even more on this. And also chasing females. Now, some of you watching this video, you may have a girlfriend, you may have a wife, you may not be chasing females, but you may be as well. Maybe on the phone, on social media, on those websites. Or if you're single, maybe you do chase females, you're on the dating apps, you're going out and hanging out with girls, when you could be doing things like seeking God or learning or building a business. See, these are some things that you can do instead, because the amount of energy that most people put towards watching porn, having an orgasm, and then females, chasing females, that energy, if it was directed towards things like seeking God, building a business, or learning more about yourself, about your mind, about your emotions, about life in general, then you could really build something here in this world that's going to help others. However, we become stuck in this bad habit and it prevents them from living in their God-given purpose. This power that we waste whenever we are just ejaculating and watching porn, destroying our brain, this power, if we were to retain it, it would express naturally as our purpose in life. But since we waste it, it never gets to express in its natural, unique way through you. So I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna be recording more videos on that in the future, but now let's go to the second habit that destroys most people's ability to live in their God-given purpose, which is TV, video games, and mindless entertainment. So I'm gonna give you a Bible verse here that kind of puts this into perspective, and that's 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. It says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him." So these things are the ways of the world. And if you're being honest with yourself, you know that you use them as a distraction. As a distraction from what? From God trying to speak to you through your conscience, right? You're constantly filling your mind with instant gratification, releasing chemicals, and having these feel-good sensations instead of allowing God to work through you by sitting with yourself and asking and praying and seeking His will for your life. Because if you're not seeking for that, then you're just going to continuously distract yourself by playing video games, by watching TV, and by scrolling through social media. So here are some things that you can do to no longer be stuck in that cycle and to create some new habits, some more productive habits, and get rid of these destructive distractions in your life. Instead of getting on the video game or watching TV or scrolling through social media, you can get out a journal and you can write down how you feel. You can write down your patterns that you notice in your life. You can do some introspection, right? You can also pray. When you feel the urge to distract yourself with mindless entertainment, you can pray and ask God to deliver you from that habit. Praying is an act of humbling yourself. So you realize that you can't do it anymore, so you go into prayer, you ask God, the Creator, to guide you instead of thinking that you can do it through your own will, because I'm going to tell you right now, you can't do it through your own willpower. That's why we, as men of God, or men seeking to become more like God, have to humble ourselves to be able to pray and ask for guidance and ask for strength to overcome these destructive habits, right? And another thing you can do is go on a walk. See, instead of distracting your mind, you go on a walk and you allow God to speak through you. You allow whatever nonsense and chatter is going through your mind, you let it go on this walk. And you don't even have to do anything to let it go. You just go on a walk. You don't have to try to let it go. You don't have to force the thoughts out. It doesn't work like that. You simply just go on a walk and you let all the mental turmoil kind of calm down by itself. And I know this from experience that this works, because when I go on my walks, I usually get my creative ideas, my business ideas. Some of the best ideas that I've received in my life have come from simply going on a walk. So that's something you can do. And something you can do when it comes to social media and mindless entertainment is to unfollow people that are not adding value to your life. I remember when I met one of my good friends, he had a bunch of models on his social media. So he would be scrolling through and he would just see half-naked women 90% of the time on his social media. And I was like, man, you have to unfollow all these women. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's destroying your mind. One, it's objectifying them. Two, it's attaching a sense of pleasure when you see light from the screen of your phone, and that will release chemicals in your mind. And it's just a whole cycle that we'll cover in another video so that it's more organized. So I'm not just trying to put it all together right now, but I'm pretty sure you know what I mean. So if you're following people that are not adding value to your life, unfollow them. Go to your social media after you watch this video and scroll through all the people that you're following and start unfollowing people that are not adding value to your life. And especially if you're following like models and things that are going to cause you to want to go and do what we talked about in the first habit, bad habit, definitely unfollow them, all right? I want to share with you one more verse, which is Colossians 3:17, and it says, whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God and the Father by him. So when you're watching TV, when you're watching movies, when you're scrolling through social media, when you're playing video games, do you think God would approve of that? Are you doing these things in God's name, or are you doing these things because of your fleshly desires? Now, if you're doing them because of your fleshly desires, if you're doing them to simply distract yourself from what you feel that you should be doing in the world, and it's just become such a strong habit that it's so hard to stop, that is okay. That is when you pray, that is when you ask God to guide you, and that is when you do the things that I mentioned. And now we're going to get into number 3, which is weed and alcohol, all right? A lot of people deal with this. I dealt with weed for years, but the funny thing is, while I was smoking weed, I didn't even think it was bad. It was just normal. It had become completely normal for me. See, when you don't have any words of knowledge, words of wisdom in your life, then the things that you do that the Bible calls sin, it's just natural to you. You don't even think twice. You don't blink an eye, because nobody has told you a different way. So if nobody tells you a different way, then you don't know what's right or wrong. You don't know what's destroying you and what's not destroying you. It will simply destroy you without you even knowing it. But once someone comes along with the word of God, the truth, and the truth resonates within your spirit, you can no longer do the things that you used to do, because now you realize that they are not adding value to your life. They're actually destructive to your life. And we have to realize that the truth behind the reason why we are smoking and drinking is because we are covering up our problems and we're suppressing them. See, you have a lot of traumas, you have things from your past that are undealt with, you have a lot of compulsive, reactive behaviors. See, if you want to overcome those, alcohol, weed, smoking, it is not going to heal you. It's just a bandage, it's just covering it up. What you need to do is learn how to overcome these bad habits so that you can begin to live for God and allow you, your vessel, to be a vessel for God to work through, instead of being a vessel that you're just consistently filling with chemicals and substances to feel good for a temporary period of time. And when you have it, you feel good. When you don't have it, you suffer. That's not what God's temple was for. God's temple was to serve him, and your body is God's temple. Now, before you can become delivered of these bad habits of smoking and drinking, or even the first two that we talked about, you have to do some introspection, and you have to ask yourself if you truly want to be delivered. I'm going to say that again. You have to ask yourself if you truly want to be delivered. Some people aren't ready. Some people enjoy their sin. Some people, they revel in it. They're fine. They don't want to change. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, I'm assuming that's probably not you, but you have to do that introspection. You have to sit with yourself and see if you truly want to change. If you don't, then this isn't for you. If you do, then we'll go to the next step, which is pray. Say that again as well. Pray. Ask God to deliver you from these bad habits. Humble yourself. This is how you become delivered of bad habits without having to, go to the doctor or this or that. It can be done through God. I've seen it. It happened in me. See, I don't have any of these habits anymore. And I don't say that to brag or that I'm better than anybody or something. I just say that because I know that when you truly seek God in your heart and you truly want to overcome the things that used to hold you down and bind you, and you want to live for God, He will deliver you of these things so that you can carry out His will. And that's what He's done through me. Now, do the desires arise sometimes? Maybe sometimes, but the desire to stay away from it is stronger than the desire to do it. And once you allow God to work through you, He will give you peace that is beyond a level of peace that any of these things can give you. So I hope this video helped you. Subscribe to the channel if you gained value from it and if you resonate with my energy. I have a lot more videos coming out to help you become a disciple of Christ and become a man of God and step into your true power and begin living in your purpose through God so that He can do His will through you. All right, that's the goal here. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.